Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Fortnite video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a guide on how to build better, how to build faster, and basically how to build more effectively. So in terms of building faster, it does come down to pretty much practice, and of course on PC you're going to be able to build faster than PS4, but using your building effectively is something that I think a lot of players could really improve on, and it's something that can make you a lot better at the game because building is, let's face it, a huge aspect of this game. My last video was how to aim better, and you guys seem to really enjoy that. Everyone's requesting how to build better. That's what I'm going to talk about today. This gameplay you're watching here, it's nothing special. I think I get like 11 kills in, for myself in a duo win with my buddy, but I didn't pick this gameplay because of the amount of kills. Of course, if I want a higher kill gameplay, I've shown those many times on my channel. The reason I chose this gameplay is because I think I show off, building bases, building aggressively, building defensively, and a bunch of different stuff, and that's why I was, chose this gameplay. I kind of go off and get all my kills towards the end of the game because I couldn't really find anyone early game on this one. I was trying to complete some challenges and different stuff like that. So drop a like on this video if you guys could. Let's go ahead and go for 207 likes. That would be absolutely awesome if you guys could go ahead and smash that like button. I would really appreciate if we get 207 likes, and let's talk about it. So building is a huge aspect of this game. Usually you're going to build mid game and late game. As far as early game building tips, most of the time if you land at a popular area, Tilted Towers Retail Row, your gunfights are going to be shotgun gunfights or up close gunfights, and at the beginning of the game no one really even has materials to build, so the only reason I could see yourself using building early game is to get height advantages, such as on Tilted Towers. If you're able to get material, definitely building can get you up and on top of Tilted Towers looking down on people, get you a few easy kills. But mid game, when you're out in the open fields, and late game is especially where if you are a good builder, you are going to win the game. That'll give you a huge advantage. Now the first thing about building, just going to cover this quickly, is of course you're going to need materials, and that's a big thing I see. I think you always need to hover around, especially if you're going more into the late game. Of course, early game, if you have 100 or 200 materials, that can be good, but I always like to hover at least above 500 materials going into the late game, and more likely around like 800 and stuff like that. Now, how you get materials is, of course, the easiest way would just be killing, not the easiest way, but the most effective way would just be to kill people, pick up their loot, it automatically picks it up, and that's definitely the way you can get a lot of materials and stack them. And also, I recommend farming materials, and the material you want to farm the most is wood, because wood is a lot easier to farm because you hit trees and it gives you the most effective thing. Another way to easily farm wood is if you're in, especially in Tilted Towers and Dusty Depot, there's some areas that have stacks of wood, and you're able to kill them very quickly, and they can give you around 50 wood. So also while you're farming, you want to hit those blue dots. It's basically a critical strike on the tree, and it'll give you double the amount of wood for that strike, and it'll make you beat down the trees double or twice as fast, basically. So make sure you're always hitting that blue one if you can. Of course, it's hard to do it every single time, but that's what I would say as far as doing that. Let's talk a bit more about why you would want to build. There's multiple reasons you would want to build: protection or height advantage. As you can see here in this gameplay, what I'm doing right now, I build up here for height advantage. Height advantage is key. Of course, just thinking about it technically, it's a lot easier to win a gunfight when you're above someone looking down. When they're below you looking up, you have a huge advantage over them, and that's why you'll see in some of these most intense build fights, it's people trying to go up as high as possible with the stairs. Another reason to build is for protection. Now, my number one strategy and when you're going to want to build is if you are, say you're playing squads or duos and there's a lot of people around you, you're getting rushed, you want to just straight up build a base up as high as you can, not as high as you can, but up about 5 levels, so you're up above. Then you can choose to heal, look down, and shoot people. Those are the reasons why you're going to want to build, usually for height advantage or for protection in a gunfight. Those are the two main reasons you're going to want to build. Now, the two ways that you're going to use your building most likely is either number one, for rushing people, and when you're rushing people, it's fairly easy. What you want to do is you want to build stairs like this, and you want to double it up if you have the right amount of materials. The reason why you want to double up the stairs is so that for them to shoot it down, they're going to have to destroy 2 things at the bottom, and it's usually a lot harder. And this one, I think I just forgot to double it up at the bottom, but that's what you're going to want to do. The other one, of course, and that's for more mid game, you're going to want to be building a lot of stairs. For more late game, what you're going to be building is more of these bases, or these, you can see I have 4 walls around me and then a set of stairs, and sometimes I'll put a floor in there, depending, or sometimes you can get away with not even doing a floor. Definitely what you want to do is build bases late game. That's the way you're going to have to. It can slow down the gameplay a little bit. That's what you're going to want to do late game, is you're going to want to set yourself up in a base just like this. It's fairly easy to build, and it can be very quick to build. Of course, it's, takes a little bit longer on PS4. Button controls and settings as far as building and how to to actually build faster, you're going to want to make sure that you have turbo building on. That will allow you to hold down the trigger and just automatically build, you know, whatever if you spin around, it'll automatically build a square around you. If you're running on something, it'll automatically build whatever. You just need to hold it down. That's sort of a new feature into the game. Other thing that you want to have on is to auto change materials when you run out. So basically by doing that, when you run out of a specific material, it's sort of a new setting, you can automatically, it'll automatically change over to the next material, and you'll never get in those fights where you actually have to worry about manually changing the materials. And as far as the actual controls, I use Combat Pro as my controls, and I think that's probably the easiest one to build and change through your different options. You can see it again. The reason why I'm winning these gunfights is not because I'm destroying the enemies in straight up combat and gunfights. I'm getting the height advantage on them. I'm looking down, and of course some of these players were not the you know, the most noticeable of noticing me going up. But when you're looking down, especially if you have an RPG, building can give you that huge advantage. Okay, so let's talk about the three main, there's 4 different things you can build with. One's a wall, a flat surface, stairs, and a pyramid. The pyramid is pretty much useless unless you edit it to become stairs. I mean, don't really use the pyramids and don't worry about that. The ones you want to focus on mostly are the walls and the stairs, and the flats can also be good for certain situations as far as putting a roof on yourself and different stuff like that. Now, with editing and different stuff like that, you don't really need to be a great editor, at least on console, because on console, I guess the building is a lot harder for most people to do. And of course, you can get good at it and you can get fast, but you're always going to be faster on PC because of how you can set the custom controllers. Now you can skip from one thing to the other. Now, basically, you're going to want to use walls when you're building a base or when you're blocking some person off from shooting at you. And then you're going to want to use the stairs to get the height advantage and when you're rushing people. And another tactic you can use is the wall in front of these stairs. As you can see, I'm doing right here, perfect timing in the gameplay, and that just reinforces so they can't shoot down your stairs. They'd have to shoot down the wall first, and while they're doing that, of course, they're going to be peeking, and you'll be able to take them out. So that's definitely what I say. As far as the edits you need to know how to do, the basic edits are, if you can, you know, if you just have a flat wall in front of you, you edit 2 squares, you can make a stair. Sometimes if I'm up in a base, I might edit a little hole for myself to shoot out of, because people are always going to expect you to poke the top of it. If you edit a hole in your base when you're up in the sky, you can either peek that hole, people will be expecting that, or you can peek the top of it, and it can kind of give you an advantage over people of surprising them. That's more of an advanced thing. I don't do it every single game. I'll only do it, you know, a couple times, but that's basically what you can do with that. Building bases just comes very natural, and it is fairly easy once you get used to it. The only thing about building bases is it does take a bunch of material. To build a proper base will probably take you around 200 or 150 to 200 material, and that's definitely something that you need to make sure you're farmed up with materials. Another thing that you can do with building is catching yourself off of falls. Now, the way building works is you need to be attached to something. So for example, if I'm in this big base and I want to get out of this big base, I can drop down, and as long as I'm on the side, I can build while midair and catch myself and do that. It does take a little practice. I wouldn't say it's really hard, but that's a lot of times how you can save yourself from, if you're on the top of a tower on tilted towers or something, and they're putting pressure on you and it's really getting intense. Jump off, build midair, either a stair or a flat platform, but you have to make sure you're connected to something, and that's how it'll work. Basically, when something's not connected to something, everything will fall down. So if you're shooting at another person's building, you want to take it down, what you're going to want to do is probably shoot at the bottom area, and once that's gone, of course, you can't have a base that just floats in midair, and that's going to be ended up, you know, they're going to end up dying because of that. So that's basically the tips I'd give you guys with that. As you can see in this gameplay here, I believe it's the last 2 people, and I'm going to use the stairs to rush them and get up on top of their area. I think that's what I do in this gameplay. But the main things when it comes down to building, number 1, I'll wrap it up for you guys because there is a lot to talk about and I'm kind of all over the place in this video, but I'm giving you guys a bunch of good tips. The main things you want to do when building is protection, which is going to be mostly the walls. Rushing people with the stairs, make sure you're doubling up on those, and even if you use a jump pad, if you double up, you won't get shot out of the sky as often because it's going to take them twice as long to shoot you out, and that's something you can do right there. And then of course, just make sure you're building these very simple bases late game, because those will give you height advantage over everyone, protection over everyone. If you get shot and say they hit a lucky headshot on you and get you weak, you can just duck down in the base, and as long as there's no one up on mountains or built way up above you, you can go ahead and heal yourself. Now, for these bases, I wouldn't recommend building above 4 stories because then you're prone to some fall damage. You can actually, you know, take heavy fall damage. But those are the tips I can give you guys for building. As far as edits, you know, simple edits, making doors, making little holes in the wall is really the simple stuff that you need to focus on. On PC, you can get into more complicated edits, and you can on console as well. But I really just think that, you know, making sure that you get the simple stuff down with building is the way that you're going to succeed. And make sure you're rushing people with those stairs, getting that height advantage. That's the main key with building, and also protecting yourself with walls. So hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. Smack a like on this video if you guys could. Those are some tips for how to build faster and how to build more effectively. So subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'm out. Peace.